Okie dokie. I see no questions, but I'll keep an eye on the chat. Got wet on my hands. So I've zoomed in really close on the eye because I just feel today like that's where I want to start. And this is my chance to kind of correct the eye because I don't have, his shape is not right. So what I'm going to start up here, because I'm actually seeing that his shape, he's got a tiny soft corner right up here, and I put it lower on mine. So I'm actually using the pen to kind of create little dots rather than lines. And I'm doing that just so I can kind of see if this is what I like. This is going to work for me. Okay. And then I can use those same little dots to do his eye ring. And I know his eye ring gets a little closer as it gets to this corner, and then it kind of fans out. All right, now he's got a little specular highlight right here. So I'm actually gonna go and just do little hatch marks, very light, very thin, where I see the darkest part of his pupil. Now, I don't always start with the eye, just I felt called to start with his eye. And so when I squint my eye down and I have the reference blown up, what I'm seeing is there's almost like a little V shape right here of like the darkest part of his eye. So I'm just kind of following that, but I'm keeping where I think the highlight is pretty big because I can always go in later. It gets dark in this corner. Okay, so I've left that highlight really big because I don't want to do anything to it right now. I may go, I'll go in later and kind of fix that up. I'm also seeing there's a little bit of cast shadow where his eye ring feathers overlap the feathers underneath, and I'm trying to capture that. And let's see. I'm going to go ahead and just go from the eye down. Start with his head and go down. Let's see. So one of the things I did want to correct is some of these perimeter feathers and round out his head a little. So when I'm doing the perimeter feathers, those of you who have been to my lives before know that I use single hatch marks. And so just to reiterate again, I'm always following the direction of the feathers. So like in the case of his head, I am putting in hatch marks like this. If his head was smoother, say like a duck, then I would still do the hatch marks, but they would be closer together, shorter, so that the line is a little smoother than this. I could really feather this out. So, yeah. And I'm kind of following these feather groups too. So he's got some feathers here that's separated. And then here's where his back is. So I'm seeing kind of this coming up. I'm seeing a bit of a shadow underneath the feathers of his maculars. And then I'm just putting some texture right here too. Kind of, again, twisting this around, so I'm always following the direction of these feathers. When you're doing birds, animals, any kind of fur or hair, it's always important to twist around so that you are following the line of the feathers. Okay, so let's see. There's a bit of texture here. And then I'm seeing and I'm letting my pen do this work. So that I'll only have to go through with a wash right here. Okay, this got a little larger. Okay, and I see right here some shadow. It's got some feathers that kind of poke out here. This line is very textured and comes down. Okay. I just want to have a look. Yep. So let's see. So right here, he's got feather texture over his beak. And then you see the line. And I'm keeping this line very faint. I'm really looking at my reference right now because this is my time to correct anything I did with that pencil. All right, I just want to make sure I get that nostril right here. It kind of scooches in, and then there's feather texture here, which I'm doing little tiny lines. And these feathers kind of pop up. He's got a few that kind of hang out. And then here, it's pretty smooth. So I'm following the direction of feathers, but I'm keeping it smooth, more like this. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and just put some dots right there. Okay. And I think I'll go ahead and start shading. So he's got some shadow right there. There's some shadow on the top because the light is actually hitting him this way. So I'm just kind of making note. He's got a bit of a pattern on his beak, but I'm just going to kind of ignore that for now. All right, now I'm kind of working on both sides of the bird at the same time. So the perimeter is pretty smooth. So I'm using hatch marks, but kind of stacking them, like I showed you here. Kind of following that angle. And then I want to, okay, so it's a little rough here. But then as his belly smooths out,